1,000 feet. That's not that far above the ground. So if you get strong rotation closer to the radar, you're more likely to have a tornado on the ground. And hopefully we don't have that yet, but I think one could be developing very shortly. Matt?
Yeah, the National Weather Service has also kind of echoed that thought that the latest scan was somewhat weakened a bit, looks not as tight, and says that they're calling it a couplet. They're saying the couplet's moving at 15 miles per hour.
That's a couplet. It's not quite as strong as it was just a couple of seconds ago. But, you know, we've got a storm, and what's happening here is the warm, humid air is getting pulled all the way back into what would be the tornado that is right here on the Saline-Pulaski County line. As long as this little area, this hook, maintains its presentation, you can get a tornado. And sometimes if that becomes cut off, the storm has to go through a recycling process. And I hope that that is what happens as this crosses one of the highest populated areas in the state, and an area that just dealt with the tornado less than a year ago. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. So very dangerous situation here. Nobody should be driving along Canis Road between Ferndale and West Little Rock. Henson Road is over here, of course, Chenal Parkway. And there's Canis and, you know, Financial Center Parkway back here as well. Cantrell and Highway 10 is up here. Chenal Mountain is just towards the north. I'm going to look real quick to see if we have any type of view from our Chenal Mountain camera, and we do not. I think the cloud bases are just a little too low. I'm going to go back
it's stuck on the ceiling.
I'm going to go back to Brett Adair's feed. He is in West Little Rock. He was at
he mentioned that there was a really big uptick in the lightning, by the way, too.
Okay, so
just over the last few
still
minutes.
Have the strong rotation there, at least from a few minutes ago. That rotation weakened, but that doesn't mean the threat is over. It looks like Brett Adair is getting in position now to get a view. He was off of I-430 and Rodney Parham at the 10 Fitness. Right now his view is obstructed by trees. He's probably repositioning, but this guy is as good of a storm chaser as you get. He does it safely. And we're going to be getting a view from him here shortly of the base of this storm, hopefully the base of this storm that does not have a tornado attached to it. So we're going to continue to monitor his feed. I'm going to look at the storm net probabilities for this storm real quick. And unfortunately, the storm net probabilities are beginning to spike over West Little Rock in advance of this storm as it is moving through the downtown, or through the west and downtown areas. So that is a little concerning. You know, we're still structurally, I'd call that a couplet. Now, this is coming off towards, this is now east of Canis Road. We've still got very strong inflow winds crossing over Chenal Mountain, wrapping back around into this. And so that is the concern right there, is that this could result in the formation of a tornado, at least at the current moment. I don't think we have a tornado at the current moment. In fact, Brett's got a view towards the west, and we'll go back to this. I think he's got a view out over the city. I'm going to find out where Brett is and tell you exactly where he is and exactly where we're looking. Remember, large hail is falling on the north side of this, but by far the most...
It's actually right on top of Chenal Mountain.
Yeah, the most dangerous threat is the tornado, the possible tornado. So I see through the lightning there, I see the base of the storm, I believe.
Yeah, it's hard to tell without a constant feed of lightning if there's actually a circulating center with that. But, I mean, based on what we're seeing on velocity data, this storm is definitely rotating.
All right, we're going to keep coming back to Brett Adair's feed. He's going to let me know.
Like a slight downtick in the lightning there, actually, a little bit.
He's going to let me know where he's at. This storm, it kind of looks like it's beginning to go through a bit of a recycling phase. And I don't like to see that, because I think we could get maybe a more favorable orientation for a tornado with this storm at some point. So still looking at very strong inflow winds right over West Little Rock. Looks like the circulation that we're following right now is just towards the south of Chenal Mountain. And we'll go ahead and look at that just to see if we do see anything off Chenal Mountain.
Yeah, you might have to point the camera straight down to the ground, and even that might not be good enough.
All right, let me change the camera out here to Chenal. Okay, we do actually have a view from our Chenal Mountain camera, and I'm going to turn it around back towards the west. Okay, looks like we've got something real low hanging there, right there. This is the Chenal Mountain weather cam. I'm just going to work on focusing the camera. Let's see if we can see anything between the lightning flashes. So this tornado warning continues to include western Pulaski County. We're looking at the Chenal Mountain weather cam. We don't believe that we have a tornado down right now. That feed from Brett Adair was west on Rodney Parham. This is the Chenal Mountain weather cam. I'm trying to get it focused. And Matt, keep looking at that for the lightning. I see a real low.
We have a report of a funnel cloud over Cruz Loop.
That could be rain. It's hard to tell in the dark.
Let me see about this. No, that looks like a downpour to me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to swing this camera around, see if we can see anything.
That's what makes these so dangerous, folks. It's really hard to be able to see and confirm these things at night. And
I don't think we're going to have a view of that. I think we're looking up towards the hill core because there's the west side of the mountain, and that's going to be looking off towards that's going to be looking right off towards the north. So that's going to be heavy rain and hail that's falling up there towards Pinnacle Mountain. I'm going to swing this thing back around towards the south, and maybe something perhaps comes into view as the storm continues to move towards the east.
No.
So we're pointed now towards downtown, and if there is something, we'll be able to see it. Man, it looks like
it does look like some inflow there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can actually see that, can't you?
Yeah, there it is.
There. Okay, we're looking towards the east. Be in your tornado safe place. That's it right there. That looks like that may be inflow. It could be a funnel cloud. The camera's out of focus, and we're looking from Chenal Mountain towards the east. But looking at the radar, we're pointed right at the circulation. So I fortunately don't see any power flashes, but this is a very dangerous situation right now over West Little Rock.
When you see the moisture looking like it's coming straight off the ground, that is not good, because that means that this storm is very much surface-based and has a direct connection to the ground. That's what you have to have in order for a tornado to form. The storm has to have a connection to the ground, and I see no indication that this thing is not connected to the ground right now.
Oh, man, look at the latest velocity scan.
Yeah, it looks like it's just southeast of Chenal Mountain. And I mean just. I mean, it is right there.
So the velocities are spiking. And you see that right there, Matt, just to the east of Chenal Mountain. We're looking at our Chenal Mountain camera. I'm looking for power flashes. I hope everybody's in a tornado safe place right now. We're looking right towards the circulation. If something is down, we're going to see power flashes. Right now, I don't think we see that. I've got reports from chasers. Looks like Chenal Mountain's starting to get back into some of the rain that's going to take away the view here. So, Matt, if you would keep an eye on that camera in case we can see something. I'm going to come back in. And now this storm, it looks like it's going to go towards the north of downtown. But just towards the east of Chenal Mountain, right in Chenal Valley, we have rotation either right above the ground and hopefully not down on the ground. But that is the area of rotation that we're working at. Chenal Mountain it's right over Chenal Mountain. Pinnacle Mountain is just towards the north, of course, across off Highway 300. This is Cantrell Road. All the Chenal Valley neighborhoods are right here. If you're listening to me and you're in Chenal Valley, I hope you're in your tornado safe place. This is going to be gone very soon. Don Roberts Elementary here is coming up on the south side of Highway 10. There's Highway 10 and Rawling, the intersection right there, of course, with the big shopping center. All of these locations, hopefully we don't have a tornado down, but if you are in any of these locations I'm talking about, just get to a tornado safe place and hopefully we can wait this out with little incident. The National Weather Service is telling us that the storm is starting to tighten up again. I'm actually getting a radar indicated tornado vortex signature over West Little Rock. I'm going to go back to Brett Adair's feed. And we're going to see what he's got. He's still looking towards the west. And I think he's got a pretty good view of it. Steve, if we can go back to Max 1 real quick, and we can look towards the west on Brett Adair's feed. Oh, okay. Here we go. So that's Brett Adair. He's sitting west on Rodney Parham, looking towards the west. He's not far away from this thing. And everybody, I hope this thing is just staying above the ground.
The circulation, I have noticed, does look a little bit smaller than it did when it was closer to Hot Springs.
It's smaller, but it also is closer to the radar.
Right.
And so now this thing is right over Highway 10, Taylor Loop Road, and Cantrell. Cantrell and Taylor Loop Road right there. That is where this circulation is. So this is actually going to be taking it on a path up towards the southern side of Maumelle and Crystal Hill. If you're in any of those locations, of course, the 430 River Bridge is right here. You've got Two Rivers Park right here. On the other side of Maumelle, you've got Maumelle Boulevard right there. There's Odom Boulevard right there. Odom, I think this is going to stay to the south of you, so for all of you that are right there. But if you live at the Country Club on either side of Maumelle Boulevard, make sure you're in your tornado-safe place. And then as the boulevard runs up to I-430 there in Crystal Hill Road, all those locations, you got to be in a safe place right now. The area of rotation starting to tighten up a little bit, and it is extremely concerning to us. Okay, let's take Storyteller. That's 430 and Cantrell, looking towards the west. So I'm starting to see some flashes. I don't know if that's lightning. Sure hope that it is. All right, Brett Adair has a pretty good view. So I'm going to take his feed real quick. He's looking west down Rodney Parham. And I'm going to continue calling out locations, Kamek Village. Make sure you're in your tornado safe spot. We're going to continue to look on all of our available feeds, cameras that we have. All right, through the lightning, you can see the base of the storm. I think what we're probably looking for is over here in this region. Actually, you can see the Chenault Towers, I think, right here. So we're just going to watch this. And it is going to be great news if we don't have anything drop. That'd be great.
Starting to look a little bit messy on the radar, too, which is something National Weather Service had mentioned earlier. As this storm does move into a messier environment, it's going to be much harder to be able to figure out where the center of the circulation is, except using the velocity data. So right now, we're looking at this here on the radar with our Doppler network, and the center of circulation, as mentioned by James, looked to be a little bit south of Maumelle, closer to Pankey here. You can kind of see that that little bit of a red spot just north of Ratting Road and south of Pinnacle Valley Road. So that's kind of what we've been looking at right now. It doesn't look terribly impressive, but a tornado is a tornado, and they're just as dangerous no matter what size they are. So you have to just assume that this is going to be a life-threatening situation, and make sure you practice your tornado safety precautions.
All right, I'm getting some reports from chasers. And I'm getting some videos that they are. They saw power flashes up toward Maumelle, but that could have been from a lightning strike. So we're continuing to track this, and Brett Adair has his camera pointed west. That's what we're looking at right now. We're tracking it also on radar, the storm that we are most concerned with and that has been giving us fits since Garland County. It's hopefully done putting down tornadoes, but we still have an area of rotation very close to Highway 10. And this is on the other side of 430. Of course, the Pleasant Ridge Town Center is right here. So this is coming up on that. At least right now, we have no indication that the tornado has been down over West Little Rock. We would know it by this point, but that can change in just an instant. So,
James,
yes.
There's another thing, too, to consider. Look how the echoes are showing up on velocity here to the north of Little Rock and how they're bending more toward the radar site. That looks to be an outflow boundary and a strong one that hopefully could undercut this storm.
Yeah, that would be good. Anything to for us to get rid of this.
I mean, that's an impressive outflow right there to our north. I mean, there are some very strong inflow signatures with the wind.
So I'm still using, I'm very surprised that we haven't had a tornado down based on some of the radar signatures we've had. I'm going to get Brett Adair on the phone. If I have a producer step in here, I'll get you the phone number to give him a call. Let's get him on the phone. He's sitting west at Highway, or I think he's at Rodney Parham. Still getting quite a few pictures and videos. We're going to get Brett on the phone for us. Yeah, here, I'll just do it over. The mic will pick it up. Storm Chaser Brett Adair is who we're calling, and he's got a view of this thing off towards the northwest.
Hello.
Hello, Brett. This is James Bryant with Channel 7. You are live on the air.
Hey, James. We were looking at this supercell thunderstorm coming into northwest Little Rock here off of 430 and Rodney Parham. Did not see a tornado on the ground. Definitely a mean storm, lots of lightning. It looks like now it is going to the north of our location. I believe it has crossed 10 now and is really moving right toward the radar site. Chemic Village, Sherwood, and we're going to pursue. We're going to get back on 430 and then get on 40 and likely jump on Highway 67 as this storm continues to move toward the east and northeast.
So, Brett, you've been following these storms for a while. You were in western Arkansas. You came back down to Little Rock. I've been telling people no two storms are the same. This is not the same as March 31st, but it's still a dangerous situation. And thankfully, it doesn't look like we've had a tornado yet, but still could be dangerous for some people in northern Pulaski County.
Well, absolutely. You saw how quickly we dealt with Hot Springs Village getting hit by the tornado from this same storm, mind you, just a little while ago. So it doesn't take long for these to spin up. We've got a volatile environment. The atmosphere is primed. As you walk outside, you can feel just how moist it is in the environment. These things can spin up rather quickly. We're going to continue likely to have some more warnings tonight. And as you said, no storm is the same. So if you go under a warning, just heed that warning. This definitely, we're beyond daytime now. I've dealt with a lot of large hail today, too. So up to baseball size across western Arkansas from some of these storms. So there are more dangers than just the tornado to deal with. But if you go under a warning tonight, make sure to seek shelter immediately because these storms are not messing around.
And, Brett, give me your current location. We've got your feet up. It looks like you're at Shackelford, and what was that street right there?
Yes, we're jumping on 430 right off of North Rodney Parham right now. We're about to jump on 430 to the north, and we're going to get back on 40 and get ahead of the storm.
Okay, I'm going to stay with you for another minute or so as you get on 430 here in just a moment. Looks like you'll have a view of this thing to your north. I'm going to leave your feed for just a second, and we're going to watch. We're going to watch your feed as you get on 430. It is our hope. It looks like the storm at times has made attempts to put down a tornado. They're at the current time, the Weather Service is saying in 13 minutes they're going to replace this tornado warning with a severe thunderstorm warning if they don't see an uptick in rotation. But I still think, given the presentation of this storm and how quickly the one in Hot Springs Village spun up, it's possible this thing could produce here over the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to take them seriously regardless because, as we know, severe thunderstorms can and sometimes do produce tornadoes as well. So even if you're under a thunderstorm warning, this is a very dangerous storm. We've seen not only lots of hail. If you're in the core of this and you're driving, it's best to pull off because the rainfall rates are extremely heavy with the moist environment that we have in place too. So areas from Mayflower down through Maumelle right now, on that I-40 corridor, you might want to take a break, take it easy, and let this storm pass before you continue on your travels and jump highway.
So looking up, up above just the lowest scan at the lowest level at the National Weather Service, Little Rock radar, which is just very, very close. I still think that this entire storm is rotating, and I just think it's going to be an issue here until it runs into something that really cools it off and begins to shut it down. Brett, we'll come back to you. We'll come back to your feed. Appreciate you being here and chasing.
Yes, sir. No problem.
All right, that was Brett Adair with Live Storms Media. He's our partner, and we are watching his feed. I'm going to go back to his feed real quick as he comes to now getting back on 430 northbound. And I just got another report handed to me. There's no damage reports in Saline County, so that's good. What you're watching right now is Brett Adair's feed as he gets back on 430 north. He's going to have a view of the storm as he comes across the 430 River Bridge, which he will do here in just a moment. I'll come back to his feed as he crosses the bridge. I want to show you, though, as we are tracking this storm. This is now almost entirely in northern Pulaski County. It's gone to the west of downtown. It's going north of North Little Rock. It's kind of jogged a little bit towards the north, and that is certainly a good sign. Usually these things are more likely to produce when they move to the right.
Hey, James, check out how much the heavy rain is expanding off to the northeast of this storm. I do believe that is because of outflow boundaries that are coming in to try and cut off this storm from its surface circulation.
Yeah, that would be excellent. So we're back on Brett Adair's feed here, and he's about to cross the 430 River Bridge. So this is Cantrell Road right here. He's going northbound on 430, and at least for a moment, we'll be able to see the base of the storm in the distance as he crosses the bridge, and you could see the base of the storm right there. Not really. It's just hard to see tornadoes at night in this state.
If you notice too, like you notice how there's little areas where it looks like there's like tiny clouds that drop. That's what we call scud.
Yeah, you really have to see it rotate to know that it's actually a funnel or actually a tornado. It's got to have some violent motion to it.
A lot of times that's just some rising air that helps to feed the storm.
Yes, that is very true.
Scud is short for scary. Well, we call them scary looking clouds, but scud basically is kind of our nickname for what can be sometimes misconstrued as a tornado.
So he's coming down 430 where it drops after you get on at Cantrell Road, and now he is looking
they expired
towards,
the tornado warning.
Okay, so he's looking towards the north, and we're going to stay with this for just a little bit longer, make sure that there is truly no tornado threat. We've got Brett Adair's feed looking north on 430 directly at the base of the storm. We don't see power flashes. That's good news. He's about to run into some really heavy rain, and he's about to kind of run into the base of the storm. And you just heard Matt say it. The tornado warning has expired for northern Pulaski County. I hope we don't see it extended.
National Weather Service says that the storm which prompted the warning is weakened below severe limits, no longer looks capable of producing a tornado. And by severe limits, they mean in terms of tornadic severe, not in terms of overall severe.
So they've let the tornado warning go. So he's looking towards the north. I thought for a moment there in West Little Rock, I think we got very close to having a tornado, and I'm very thankful that we did not.
And I believe the outflow here coming in from the north that's causing all that very heavy stratiform rain. That's what's really helping to cut this thing off and really save our behinds on this.
So it is 9:37 p.m. I would like to find out if we have Brenda live in Hot Springs Village. Not yet. We don't have her there yet. Okay, so we're looking to have her for the 10 o'clock newscast. All right, just looking at the storm that's moving through Pulaski County. There are other storms going on. It's going to be a stormy night. Right now, there are no tornado warnings in effect. They've let the tornado warning over northern Pulaski County expire. What we're probably seeing in Maumelle right now is quite a bit of hail up towards the north of I-40, and the area of rotation that we have been tracking for a long time seems to have weakened, and that is certainly a great sign. But at the same time, I want us to be paying attention and be very weary of this storm because I think it could recycle and try to put down another tornado. Yeah. So right near Camp Robinson, it looks like we do have a little bit of rotation occurring. It looks like that has just recently developed here in the last couple of minutes. So that's looking at Brett Adair's feed. He is going through some very heavy rain on I-40. So just in the last couple of minutes, we've seen this start to rotate here. We're going to watch this as it moves off towards the northeast. Again, no tornado warning in effect right now. And that is the best case scenario. This storm is about to move through far northern Pulaski County and eventually up towards the northeast. And Matt, if you're correct, and we have a boundary approaching from the north, it will end the tornado threat for this storm tonight. And
yeah, it's going to undercut it. It's basically the same way as a cold front can undercut these things, because if you can cut off that supply of warm, moist air to one of these storms, that really helps to just destroy any sense of surface circulation. Now, outflow from storms to the north is not the same as a cold front, but in this case, considering that the sun has already set, now we're past dark, there's not really much of a chance of that atmosphere recovering from all that rain-cooled air coming in from the storms out of the north. And you can kind of see how this spreads out a bit. See how all of that red, those heavy rain signatures start to expand. That shows that the air is being forced upward by something. And in this case, I do believe that is because of the outflow from storms to the north. And that's turning this, as we mentioned before, it's starting that transition into more of a flash flooding heavy rain event overnight rather than a tornado threat. Now, there is still that tornado threat. We still have tornado watches in effect until midnight for a good chunk of the state. But we do expect at a certain point for the tornado threat to diminish. And this is one of the indicators of why it has diminished greatly across the northern half of the state. It's because of all that storm activity, all fighting for resources at the exact same time. And that can cause that to happen.
All right, I'm going through KATV.com/chime in. We've had a number of pictures and videos submitted. We'll be going through those to show them. Now that the tornado threat is a little bit less, we can work on hopefully showing you what has happened. There's been quite a bit of hail. I've gotten lots of hail video from across the state, and hopefully, I'm very hopeful that the tornado damage that we saw in Hot Springs Village is minimal, but I've gotten a few reports of there being some significant damage, and now I'm getting reports of dime-size hail in Sherwood. That's this little cell off towards the southeast of North Little Rock and Sherwood. So the storm that's in northern Pulaski County, there's no tornado warning in effect for that right now. This storm, it's still very impressive. It's still likely producing hail from Maumelle over towards Camp Robinson, and it's still moving off towards the northeast. But it's starting to become impacted by storms that are off towards the north and off towards the west, and that is exactly what we wanted to see. And I think we got very, very lucky in West Little Rock with that storm tracking over and not producing a tornado. I think we got very, very lucky, and I hope our luck continues.
There's also a hail core signature showing up pretty prominently just north of Hot Springs Village.
Yeah, so it looks like for first responders that are working back in that north of Hot Springs Village, there's more hail. Doesn't look like there's a ton of rotation with that system. That storm that's out there.
That wind is going straight into each other, so that looks like pure convergence rather than an actual rotation.
Oh man, I'm getting more pictures of trees and power lines down in Hot Springs Village, and I'll be showing those coming up here at 10. So we're still just kind of sticking with the storm that we are that's tracking through northern Pulaski County right now, not under a tornado warning. Let's go back to Brett Adair's feed. He is looking towards the north. He's still on the freeway. He's tracking this storm as it moves through North Pulaski County. And, he texted me but just a few minutes ago saying the storm mergers, basically storms merging with the storm that could have produced tornadoes, really saved some of us tonight. And that is certainly some good news because it's surprising to me scientifically that the storm that just moved through West Little Rock did not produce a tornado. Great news, though. That's fantastic. I'm glad that it did not. So he's out there on the freeway. It looks like he is almost looks like this is the scenic hill in North Little Rock. I think he's on I-40. It turned around going the other direction. So we'll continue to keep up with his feed. While he's continuing to work his way off towards the east, we'll go back to radar. The storm itself still very impressive on radar. Still looks very good. Some very strong winds up there and hail towards the north side of this storm. Definitely, even though it's not a tornado threat, it's definitely something you don't want to be outside in. We'll continue to watch this storm. I lost track of all the other activity around the state over the last couple of hours, but it's just been a lot of rain and thunderstorms. There's been a few severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued as well. And now we said about 9 to 10 o'clock, it was all just going to form into one giant mess. And it has. It's just a line of storms. I think the flash flood threat's going to increase as these storms move from west to east, and hopefully the tornado threat is just about completely done. But we're going to watch a few of these storms on the southern end of this line. There's, I think, a good chance that we're going to have to watch this storm for at least a few more minutes. Looking at the Weather Service, they're currently not concerned about the storm that they let the tornado warning expire for. Looking at a couple of different probability tools on my laptop over here, I do think we probably need to watch the storm in northern Pulaski County just for a few more minutes. So normally we'd go back to regular programming, but what we're going to do is I think here in about 10 minutes we'll take a short break, and then we will go to a quick commercial break, and we'll come back for the 10 p.m. news. So I think we're just going to take this into our 10 o'clock newscast. We're going to have a report coming up from Hot Springs Village that was hit by a tornado earlier. I'm working on bringing you some of the footage that was just sent to me from Hot Springs Village. And I'm getting some pictures from Hot Springs Village of trees and power lines down, really hoping that none of that was structural damage. If you have safely taken pictures of severe weather, you can send it to KATV.com/chime-in, or you can send it to my Facebook page. The inbox is open, my meteorologist James Bryant Facebook page. It does look like some very strong winds are occurring at the ground level north of the North Little Rock Airport. That's where the radar is, north of the North Little Rock Airport, and probably some hail as well, dealing with both the hail and high winds north of the North Little Rock Airport. So Maumelle over towards Camp Robinson, and just north of the NLR Airport up through Gravel Ridge, and then up off West Republican Road in the far northern part of North Pulaski County towards Gibson. All of this area is dealing with a severe storm. Thankfully, at the moment, not dealing with a tornadic storm. It still has very nice radar presentation. It's got the hook echo there. And so until the threat is completely diminished, we're going to keep watching this storm. I'm getting a report from somebody in Hot Springs Village. Trees down in the village. Looks like a war zone. Trees are on houses, but there has been no news of injuries. So that is great news. No news of injuries. I'm going to work on getting this video to air. Matt.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick overview of what's happening around the state as we continue to watch northern Pulaski County. But there's a lot of people dealing with thunderstorms right now.
There's also a lot of flood warnings starting to come out here from the National Weather Service too. Yeah. And a lot of this heavy rain really is starting to take a toll here because it just doesn't want to stop. And this is kind of what we've been talking about, that this event would eventually transition from a tornado threat to more of a flash flooding threat. And that's going to be the case here overnight. We've got a lot of this activity yet still to come because the cold front itself is actually still to our north and west. It's still in Oklahoma. As far as what I can tell, I don't think that cold front has entered Arkansas yet. So as long as that cold front is still out to our north and west, that means that we are still dealing with the potential for some heavy rain and thunderstorms throughout the night, and that's going to lead to some very high rainfall totals. In fact, some of the latest projections here are showing upwards of another inch to possibly 2 or 3 inches here. This is on top of what we've already had. So it's definitely possible that we end up with quite a bit of flooding threats out there. That could be the most widespread threat from these storms now that we're seeing fewer and fewer severe thunderstorm warnings being issued from this system. So with the main cold front still off to our north and west, we have a lot of heavy rain yet to come through. The main outflow, though, all these storms are right on the edge of wind gusts from storms earlier today that were off to our north. And as that continues to push southward, it should help to undercut a lot of the a lot of the tornado potential with any of these storms that have managed to move across the area here. So you got Hot Springs Village as well as Little Rock. Just north of that area, we have a lot of this heavy rain here coming down. And while the tornado threat is diminishing, the hail threat can still ruin your day. And that's what we're going to be tracking here, I think, for much of the rest of this evening through the 10 o'clock. And then also the wind threat after that really starting to kind of tamper down a little bit. It's going to be more of a flash flooding threat as we head forward. In fact, I'm starting to see what looks like a little bit of outflow boundary activity here south of Hot Springs Village. That will also help to undercut any kind of...
Hey, we're getting a new tornado warning, and this is going to be for Montgomery County.
Oh, that's the storm we were watching. Yeah.
And I think we've still got a problem in Pulaski County as well. I think this storm is still presenting a problem with some rotation that I'm looking at above the ground level. Matt, go ahead and take a look at that storm that's back out in the northwest.
Oh, it's right near Pencil Bluff yet again.
Yeah, it is once again out there.
They just can't catch a break here tonight. Yeah, that is brutal. All right, so let's take a look at this here. That's a pretty tight circulation. Yeah, I think that's a good call they made, issuing a tornado warning for that one. So that one is in Montgomery here. It's a little bit southwest of Pencil Bluff. So you guys are getting kind of a repeat scenario. Now, hopefully some of this outflow to the north can undercut it, but it's going to take a while because there's still quite a bit of pretty solid inflow here to the south. And without a lot of competition south of that storm, there is unabated warm, moist air flowing into it out of the south. And that's going to continue as it tries to push. And it looks like it may try to thread the needle between Pencil Bluff and Mount Ida as we head through this evening, and then possibly head over toward Ouachita instead. But it's hard to tell based on the circulation center here and just how long this thing is going to stay in its current strength. The one thing I'm not seeing too much of with that storm is a hail threat like we were seeing with the storm that was around Hot Springs Village and another one that was over toward Maumelle. So that is at least some bit of good news, but unfortunately a tornado warning kind of trumps that when it comes to any kind of severe threat. So this is what we're looking at right now over toward just southwest of Pencil Bluff. You can see a pretty solid hook echo in this area. That is a clear sign that the storm is rotating near the surface. Plus, when we look at this on velocity data, I'm going to start saving these images here. Once we look at this on velocity data, there is a very pronounced and bright couplet showing up with some very strong inflow and outflow signatures that are with this system. So yeah, that is a pronounced tornadic signature and a couplet that I would say is definitely on the ground as of right now.
All right, so we've got another tornado threat. That's the same area that could have been dealing with the tornado threat earlier. We're going to watch the Pulaski County storm very closely. I think it may be trying to rotate once again. Still a couple of storms out there worth watching, and Matt just gave you a real good rundown on the storm that's out there in western Arkansas. It's not picking up debris, at least at this point, but that's still this storm a little bit further south of the storm we were dealing with earlier out in Montgomery County. The storm that's in Pulaski County still is a little bit concerning. Still's got a hook echo on it. Very strong winds are happening north of the airport. And I think there's still some small hail falling. Got a report of half-inch hail falling in Sherwood, on the north side of Sherwood. Of course, a lot of lightning falling from this as well. I'm working on pulling up some videos from Hot Springs Village from a chaser, Andrew McMahon, who is chasing tonight. And he's got a couple of really good pictures from the Hot Springs Village area. It looks like a metal building was damaged. We got trees and power lines down. Again, we're hoping that the damage is not as bad, or at least certainly not bad to houses and people's homes. The storm north of Little Rock still bears watching, at least for the moment, but the most serious situation in the state as far as tornadoes are concerned is out to the west of Mount Ida. We still have a strong area of rotation, a very strong couplet there that's just to the south of Odin. So the Weather Service has opted to issue a tornado warning, and they're going to issue that until 10:30 6:30. So in theory, this could take us through our 10 p.m. broadcast. But that's what we're watching. It's just to the south of Pencil Bluff. And we talked to a couple of spots there earlier. Of course, there's the RV park and Dollar General there right at the intersection of 270 and 88. This looks like it's going to stay just to the south of that, but it is going to be moving off towards the east and the east-northeast. Hopefully, it's going to do what the storm over West Little Rock just did and not put down a tornado. That's what we want. The storms rotate. We do not want them to produce tornadoes tonight, and certainly don't want them to affect any of you. I'm still keeping an eye on the storm that's in the Little Rock area. I'm just keeping a very close eye on it just to make sure. So I'm not forgetting about you if you're dealing with that storm on the north side of Pulaski County. There's a look at the radar. Another pretty classic hook echo right there, and there's the area of strongest rotation. So that is what we're watching there. It's going to approach US 270 here shortly. Montgomery County is beautiful. I would never want to storm chase in Montgomery County due to the terrain and the trees. It's a tough place to see a tornado, even tougher at night. So make sure that you're in your tornado safe place if you're in central Montgomery County. And even if you're in Mount Ida, I would be in my tornado safe place. Sometimes it does happen. The storms can actually turn. They do not move in straight lines. So make sure that even if you're up there in Mount Ida, you should have gotten the alert on your phone. Go ahead and head to your tornado safe place. The storm is moving, it looks like, off towards the east-northeast, and with pretty classic radar presentation as far as tornadoes are concerned, and it may actually begin to turn a little bit to the east. So Mount Ida, up Arkansas Highway 27, make sure you're in your tornado safe spot. This is in Montgomery County. This is west of Lake Ouachita. This storm, I think, eventually will get to the western section of Lake Ouachita, but this is west of Lake Ouachita. We've tracked a couple of tornado-warned storms already through Montgomery County tonight. I had heard no reports of damage just yet, and that's good news. We don't want to hear any reports of damage, but this is the most significant storm so far. Looks like we're getting more and more video of hail from around the state, and there's been so much. Remember, if you have video that you want to send in, you can send it to ketv.com/chime in.
There's an important update, though. The National Weather Service did cancel the severe thunderstorm warning for Garland, Perry, and Saline. So it looks like that storm has lost a lot of its potential threat.
Okay, that's good news. All right, if let's stay with Matt for a second. I'm going to get a video pulled up here.
Yeah,
Matt, you stay with the tornado warned storm there that's in Montgomery County. I'm going to get a video pulled up.
Yeah, this is south of Pencil Bluff, and there are the circulation is a little bit broad now. It's more broad than it was earlier. In fact, I'll take you hour by hour through that. You notice how we had earlier that bright couplet with the reds and the greens right next to each other. That was 948. All right, that's what prompted the warning. Now look at how it's diminished. Now this could be just cycling downward a little bit before it goes right back up again. So it's something that we're going to have to just kind of keep an eye on. But that is south of Pencil Bluff. And I would put the old signature there just to the east of Hogjaw, closer to, we'll say Hogjaw Road, maybe a little bit east of Hogjaw Road, and approaching 270. And unfortunately, I know you guys have already had this kind of stuff happening here for you, but National Weather Service did also do an update on this tornado warning. They have it located near Malden, or 2 miles northwest of Mount Ida, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So they've got it clocked at 40 miles an hour in terms of movement there. And again, it can be hard to tell just based on radar, but that's coming in from the National Weather Service as this makes a move off to the east northeast. Were you able to get that video there?
Yeah, I'm
James?
still working on it. It's going to be
Okay.
a still image out of Hot Springs Village showing a metal building that's been ripped off its foundation.
Gotcha. Yeah, and what we're not seeing a whole lot with this one too, though, is hail signatures. So this looks like it may end up being a very shallow circulation right near the ground, as opposed to one that's being fed from above. And that lowers at least one threat. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, the tornado threat trumps anything else that you're going to be dealing with. So what we look for, as I mentioned, is the bright green and bright red right next to each other. That couplet is looking a little bit broader at this point, but that could be the storm just cycling on itself a little bit. Now, what prompted the National Weather Service to go ahead and cancel the warning that was near Hot Springs Village was the fact that it really was just a hail threat, and that has dropped off significantly. We're also seeing a drop off of the hail threat for the storm that's north of Little Rock, but because of the fact that this storm is so close to the radar site, it can be very difficult to be able to tell where a center of circulation is, or if there is a circulation center with that particular storm. So that's what makes it very hard whenever you get these things close to the site. Notice something, though. I'm going to go ahead and draw on this. You see this little line here? This is called an outflow boundary, all right? That undercuts a lot of the potential here for any of these storms to develop circulation. That's why we ended up having that tornado warning canceled here for Little Rock. Unfortunately, that line, it doesn't exist here with the storm that's near Mount Ida, at least not yet from what I've seen. Now, it could end up pushing through and cutting that off. That could cause the warning to cancel early, but that'll be up to the National Weather Service to decide this point. I would say at this point, you still have to assume this tornado-warned storm is capable of producing a tornado at any time, even if it doesn't have one down at the ground right now, and is heading, I would say, on a beeline path toward Ouachita at this current moment. The National Weather Service clocks it at 40 miles per hour heading to the north and east. I would say it's more of an east-northeast track personally because it's kind of a right mover, and the right movers are what we look for when it comes to any kind of storms that are very well organized and can put a lot of heavy rain, lightning, thunder, and also some wind gusts, hail, and even a tornado.
All right, Matt, I've got a couple of pictures I want to show. These are from Andrew McMahon. This is going to be in Hot Springs Village. This was earlier, and this is the scene he came up to. It looks like this was a metal-framed building, and you see there's the foundation, and it's just wiped away. Metal buildings usually do not fare well during tornadoes. This is just one part near Hot Springs Village. So there's that. And then coming up, he came up to quite a few downed power lines as well. It looks like the metal building was over here back behind that. And then you can see the large emergency response there in the distance. But we downed power lines, lots of downed trees we're getting reports of. And unfortunately, lives being impacted by tornadoes or a tornado that moved through a very populated spot in the state tonight in Hot Springs Village. So
it's something too of note though with these power lines is that they're built to detach themselves, from the pole so that they don't bring down the entire power pole. So the fact that the entire power pole is down just shows the fact that this was a very strong and tornadic wind that was coming through this city.
So we're getting the latest from Little Rock Police is that we are getting reports of no damage in Little Rock. So that's good news. No damage in Little Rock. I'm telling you, we got very lucky tonight that there was not a tornado in Little Rock. It's been a different story out in Hot Springs Village. So I'm reading a report. It looks like they're staging search and rescue teams to head into Hot Springs Village, and that was sent to me by a first responder. So they are a search and rescue operation. Looks like it is underway in Hot Springs Village. It continues, and our Brenda Lipinski is going to be on the ground there. Should be pretty shortly. As she left about an hour ago, I'm sure the locations are going to be tough to get to. We still have a tornado warning in the state, but as things have evolved, we've gotten all clear for North Arkansas. We've now got this line of storms that's beginning to slowly sag towards the south. A couple of severe storms are along this boundary, and as Matt said it earlier, once the boundary crashes through those storms, the tornado threat is over. So I do feel like the tornado risk is about to end as long as we don't get anything developing out in the open warm sector. There is that tornado-warned storm that we have out in Montgomery County is the last thing we're watching before we'll start our 10 o'clock news. And it's a pretty impressive velocity signature from Little Rock and from the Fort Smith radars. So that has just crossed over US 270. And if we look at debris detector, it may just be too far away from the radar to detect anything, but that's a good sign that we have.
It's moving into a cluttered environment too, though. That's going to choke it off.
Yeah, I hope so. Matt's point is that this thing is moving up towards an area that's been rain cooled. And it's not moving southeast, it's moving almost due northeast. So hopefully that is going to end the threat on this. here very soon. At least for the moment, the circulation is maintaining itself, moving east-northeast towards Washita. Please be in your tornado safe spot. It looks like Brett Adair is coming through North Little Rock. I'm still watching his feed, so he's south of the storm, the big storm that's in Pulaski County. And I would bet he may be headed to the damage in Hot Springs Village.
He's a trooper.
Yes, he is. He's a great at what he does. He's a good storm chaser. Does it very safe.
I think the outflow boundary right now, I would have to peg that thing is right on the cusp of that tornadic signature, of that circulation. I think it's right there. You can kind of see how that stratiform rain is starting to form north of Washita and right over top of Lake Washita, as well as over toward Mountain Pine and Fountain Lake. Every shower and storm needs, it needs moisture, it needs instability, it needs a trigger. And the trigger in this case would be that outflow boundary that's coming through. And as it triggers more and more activity, it's going to clutter up this thing and hopefully rob it of its resources so that it can't really produce anything near the ground anymore. Still looking at a pretty good signature there toward the ground, but I'm not seeing a tight couplet at this point. It looks broad. That could just be the fact that the boundary hasn't hit it yet and started to knock this thing back down to the ground. We haven't seen too much in the way of hail from this storm, but there is a little bit of a hail signature showing up just in the northwest due west of Pencil Bluff. And I think that's also due to the fact this outflow boundary is coming in. It's helping to trigger new updrafts. It's helping to create some hail signatures there as well. We'll see that hail threat probably last through a good chunk of the night, along with the flash flooding threat once the tornado threat begins to die down. But as of right now, that tornado signature, that circulation signature is still there with that particular storm.
But looking regionally at the storms, we are continuing to probably start to deal with the flash flood threat. And Matt, you went over the flash flooding threat a little bit earlier, but I'd imagine we're probably going to see some flash flood warnings soon for Pulaski County. These slow-moving thunderstorms up here probably are going to drop an inch or two of rain in a really short period of time. We've got one severe thunderstorm warning for northern Pulaski County, one tornado warning out in Montgomery County with that area that it's going to weaken eventually. But if you're in the vicinity of that circulation, make sure you're seeking shelter, at least for the moment. This area of rain, we haven't talked about it in a while, dealing with all the storms that have been actively ongoing. But this area of rain is going to be moving off towards the south and towards the southeast. And eventually what's going to happen is this just becomes one big area of rain that gets into South Arkansas. The severe threat's going to be much lower. Can't rule out a severe storm or two, but the severe threat will be much lower. And when I say severe storm, I mean a high wind gust. And we'll be dealing with lingering rain into early tomorrow. Other than that, I think the severe threat is going to at least begin to wane. Here's another view of Brett Adair. He's coming through North Little Rock. He's at JFK and McCain. See the heavy rain coming down there. I think he hit some hail earlier back when he was further towards the north. And he's working his way now towards the south. So that's the view from North Little Rock. You see the heavy rain falling there. This is the view from Chenal Mountain. Heavy rain again falling out there. And as we look once again at our regional radar picture.
Hey, James.
Yeah, go ahead.
The National Weather Service just expired the severe thunderstorm warning for Faulkner, Lone Oak, Pulaski, and White.
Okay, so
that's
the severe thunderstorm warning you see there is about to expire. And now it's just a regular old thunderstorm. Well, the reports of hail that we have been getting have been pretty small. So that is certainly some great news. So the last place for us to focus in on is up in Montgomery County. And at least for the moment, we have a broad circulation. This is east of Arkansas 298 approaching Arkansas Highway 88. And I'm hopeful that this is well above the ground with tornado not being down and that here soon this tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire and or will be canceled. Matt, the flooding threat appears to be rising.
Yeah, we have the flash flood warnings here across many parts of the area. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through those. We have them across here, basically Bluffton as well as Briggsville. You guys are dealing with flash flooding threats. We have Paris and Clarksville, Boonville, Lamar dealing with flash flooding, and then also the Fort Smith area off to our north and west. It's a little bit outside of our viewing area, but nonetheless still dealing with that flash flooding threat. Otherwise, the that's it for flash flood warnings currently, because most of that area has already been pretty rain soaked from earlier thunderstorms. And so now we're just seeing a lot of this heavy stratiform rains, what it's called, just kind of drenching already rain-soaked ground. And when that happens, it makes for very easy runoff. That's what leads to the flash flooding potential, is that runoff over rain-soaked ground. So once again, over that one storm that did show some promising circulation there and prompted the tornado warning, it looks like it is weakening. And I think it's being undercut here by some of that wind coming in out of the north now, which looks to have already pushed through Pencil Bluff here currently, which will put it right underneath that area of circulation.
All right, it looks like the circulation is even a bit more broad than it was just a few minutes ago. Looking at the radar loop there that you had, certainly we expect this to continue. The tornado warning remains in effect until 10:30. Along Arkansas Highway 27, get into your tornado safe place. Very broad. Hopefully, we're seeing the beginning of the end to the tornado threat tonight, and we'll bring you a live picture. Hey, if Brenda is, or if we have a camera up in Hot Springs Village, just let me know and we can take that feed if at any point that becomes available. But for now, we'll stick with radar and we'll look at the area of rain, the large area of rain that continues to work its way south through most of the state. In case you missed it earlier, if you're joining us for our 10 p.m. newscast, Hot Springs Village sustained damage from a tornado.
Okay,
These
update.
Pictures are off of Highway 7. There's a picture of a metal building that was destroyed.
I got an update
Matt?
for you, James. They issued a severe thunderstorm warning for that tornado warned storm rather than a new tornado warning, which is a good sign.
So with the expectation that this tornado warning may eventually be expiring here, we'll be going into a condensed version, I think, of our 10 p.m. newscast here, probably within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, just to let our crews know kind of what the plan is here. Back to the pictures from Hot Springs Village. If you were just joining us, this is not in Hot Springs Village, the picture that I have on screen here, but this is right off Highway 7 west of Hot Springs Village. There's a metal building that was completely destroyed. The tornado then went into Hot Springs Village, and at this same location, we had power lines down, and there is a large emergency response underway in Hot Springs Village right now. And I've heard no reports of injuries or deaths, and that is great news because we certainly have some tornado damage, and we had the tornado go through there earlier. And that same storm came through Little Rock, and at times looked like it would produce a tornado. Thankfully, it did not. Little Rock police reporting no damage in the city of
They
Little
just
Rock.
canceled it.
All right. So while we kind of wrap up our coverage of what the weather has been doing, our news department has been getting a report from Hot Springs Village. We have Brenda Lipinski, who is headed to that scene. I think we'll have a report here before the end of the 10:30 broadcast. But we are, Caden or whoever's in the booth, well, let me know if you want to take a short break and come back for the 10 p.m. newscast. Okay. So we have no tornado warnings in the state right now. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to take a short, quick break, catch our breath, and we'll come back with the news. We'll have more weather for you, of course, covering the tornado that occurred tonight and the weather that's out there right now. So we'll be right back.
from the station that's on your side. This is Channel 7 News at 10.
Well, a good Thursday evening to you. If you have been watching tonight, you know by now it has been a night of severe weather in Arkansas with a confirmed tornado on the ground in Garland County. Some damage being done to Hot Springs Village there. We hope you have been safe tonight. Of course, the Channel 7 weather team has been on the air throughout prime time, and meteorologist James Bryant joins us now with the very latest on what's going on in Arkansas skies. James.
Well, Chris, I think West Little Rock got very lucky avoiding a tornado. It stayed above the ground. We did have that tornado in Hot Springs Village, and I think that's the only tornado that the state has seen tonight. We still have a tornado watch in effect, but the severe threat really is beginning to ramp down. Still have that severe thunderstorm warning in western Arkansas and a new flash flood warning that includes all of the metro area all the way back to Polk County, kind of that corridor out west where we have storms that really are slow moving and are going to dump quite a bit of rain across the area here over the next couple of hours. We've still got storms, and they still could be producing small hail, especially that storm in northern Montgomery County. But as you look towards Pulaski County, it's really just become a giant mess. So this is not organized types of weather that produces tornadoes. Maybe you could have an isolated damaging wind gusts, but this is much better sleeping weather. We can all begin to rest easy with the end of the tornado threat. Pulaski County now almost completely covered up in heavy rain, and that flash flood warning is in effect for basically the northern half of the county. More storms will be moving out of Oklahoma into western Arkansas very soon, but I think the severe risk really is beginning to wind down. There's the view from Chenal Mountain. It's raining quite a bit. Brett Adair sitting in North Little Rock, raining there as well. The rain overnight, it continues to move further south. It may hang on into early tomorrow morning. Isolated severe weather possible tonight in the form of a damaging wind gust, but we're pretty much done with that tornado threat. Chris?
The news that we have wanted to hear tonight, James. Thanks so much. Well, as always, you have been our eyes and ears outside during this stormy weather tonight. Let's take a look at some of the images that have come in through the KATV Chime In page. This one from Gabe Galster. Gabe captured what he believed to be a tornado in the distance there, about 5 miles south of Lake Washita and Brady Mountain. Our thanks to Gabe from that. Miles McKenzie sent in this look at an incredible storm cloud that took shape over where Miles was. This was from earlier in the evening before night fell in Arkansas. And one more we have now from Billy Butler. Take a look at this photo of some of the hail that fell tonight. You can see that golf ball there. Those hailstones, twice the size of a golf ball, perhaps baseball size hail, that falling in North Hot Springs Village. And actually one more. This is from Doug Ernest showing a more large size hail. This too falling in Hot Springs Village, which again was hit hard by tonight's storm. This comes to us from Warren Road. This is video of quarter-sized hail falling in Warren's neighborhood. And you can hear it falling as well. Not good for homes, certainly not good for cars as well. We're keeping our eye on the threat of hail as the night unfolds. If you ever have any photos or videos of severe weather tonight or any other night, make sure to share them with us. And you can do that through the KATV Chime In feature. It is right there at the top of the KATV.com homepage, or you can just scan the QR code that is on your screen. That will take you there as well. And please never put yourself in danger to capture those images. Only do so if it is safe. Well, we do know tonight's storms caused power outages in several different parts of the state. According to poweroutage.com, the latest numbers have Arkansas at just about 8,500 outages. The majority of those are concentrated in Garland County, where about 3,300 homes are still in the dark right now. Those numbers have been dropping throughout the night. They peaked earlier at around 11,000 homes. But again, the latest numbers statewide, about 8,500 customers are without power. We are hoping to take you down to Hot Springs Village in a few minutes to see the latest there. Our Brenda Lipinski and our crew is on the scene. We will take you there live just as soon as that's available. Well, in other news tonight, the Natural State is set to receive more than $67 million in funding to reduce the risk of flooding. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will use those funds to improve the reliability and resiliency of several reservoirs and inland waterway navigation systems. They'll focus their work on the McClellan-Kerr Arkansas River Navigation System, the Blakely Mountain Dam on Lake Washita, and the Osceola Harbor. among others. Well, the Board of Trustees for the Arkansas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired and the Arkansas School for the Deaf took a step forward tonight in their search for a superintendent. Last month, of course, Governor Sanders announced a plan to build new facilities for both.
Okay, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Look like the storm gonna pass us over. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, because I do believe. All right, y'all. I was in there cooking some fish sticks and fries in the air fryer. I may be back. Thank y'all. What's up, Mook, Sergeant King, everybody, Squawk, Kizzy K? Happy birthday once again. I'll see y'all later, okay?